Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another special episode of Herschel Talkers, also sponsored, and we got the college football hour, north to south, with Angry Scott, Big Sean, and special return guest.
Trey, can you just end it with Boom Goes the Dynamite?
We got our special guest here, Tennessee Tony, return guest. How are we doing today, Tony?
I'm doing good, man. Glad to be back this year.
Good.
Tony, this intro, in case you probably surmise this is literally like Trey's version of Alabama. You just can't get over the hump, man.
It is. Also wanted to say special thanks for letting us post on Talking Dogs again. Great sponsor and let us post on there. You can anything Talking Dogs, Georgia football. You got the coffee shop. They got Commit to the G, great recruiting. So please check out talkingdogs.com. They're adding members each day. So we appreciate them being a part of the show. Jumping right into it. Georgia with another impressive victory, 43-6 last week over Missouri. Started out a little slow. To me, their quarterback was a little mobile and ran around, so that was a little discouraging. But Stetson Bennett, he looked pretty good. 255 and 3 touchdowns. They did stop our running game, which was a little discouraging. I think they're really focused on putting the 8-9 in the box and force us to pass. But we later opened it up, but impressive 43-6. And we did get to see that man, JT Daniels, Sasquatch, coming out of nowhere. He finally showed up. Looked a little rusty, but he did get a touchdown, but threw a pick behind Burton, I believe. Burton was great to get back going. I think he almost had 3 potential touchdowns. He had 1 touchdown and 76 yards. Also, Arian Smith, it was good to have him back. So all in all, it was good having some of our guys back. Still haven't heard any verdict or anything on Adam Anderson. He'll be a huge blow losing him, but not sure what that is. We'll just be quiet on that. But Sean, what was your thoughts on Missouri and Georgia?
I mean, like, I fell asleep for 2.5 quarters of it. So, I mean, it was we just kind of coasted. I mean, I didn't come out of that game seeing any huge concerns, which I guess is about the best you can say. And I'm not trying to sound arrogant or disrespectful, but it's just, it was a spread like 39.5. I mean, you're hoping you kind of look, the part in a game like that. So,
well, could you, from what you've seen, did you see where we missed Adam Anderson?
Not necessarily out of that one game. I thought they kind of played. Certainly, Nolan Smith his roommate played inspired football for that. I mean, I think where you're gonna, and that quarterback was they played 2 quarterbacks. That's the other thing. So I think where you're probably gonna miss Anderson though is probably gonna be against more mobile quarterbacks because a lot of times they leave him in there to spy.
Right.
But I mean, it's a huge blow if he doesn't come back.
Exactly. So all in all, it was a great win. And
I'll give you my quick thoughts on the game. I didn't see much of it because I was watching a lot of that Ohio State, watching us trying to lose Nebraska like every other team, and, 6-8 trying to lose a game, except for Michigan State, who actually lost a game. But once again, Georgia, the number 1 team in the country, no doubt, 43-6, not much to see.
Exactly. And jumping right, what do you think about the game, Tony? Did you pay attention at all, being a Tennessee fan, or you?
Yeah, I end up watching. I forget what 12 o'clock game I ended up watching more, but that one, once it got out of hand, 14-0, I think, because I just flipped it. So I didn't even watch any more of it. I was watching some of the closer games. I can't remember what I watched at 12. I know I watched the Ole Miss game, and then 3:30 I watched that UNC ball game.
Okay. And then transitioning that, Tennessee with a big win over a ranked team, 45-42 over Kentucky. Let me throw out some stats for you. I think I mentioned this to Sean the other day. If you would have had a monkey or any person that didn't know and go, I'm going to throw out some stats for you. All right. Kentucky, 600 yards, didn't punt, and they held the ball 46 minutes. What would you have said? Who would have won that game? So what it basically said is Tennessee explosive. I mean, look at all these 75, 72. Just explosive, and only had the ball 16 was really impressive. And looks like this Hooker kid, which Tony can tell us about, but a great win, 5-4. You guys probably going to be bowl eligible, so it's a good win for the Vols.
Yeah, it was. I didn't even get to see the first touchdown because one of the games was, I forget which one it was, running over. And I was trying to go to the app and watch, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna go back because I like to watch on cable to go back and forth. And once the game came on, Kentucky had the ball, and it was 7-0. I said, oh, we must have ran the kickoff back. And then when they showed the highlight, is the 75-yard touchdown. But no, you're right. I mean, I've thought about that all week, and talked to a lot of people, listening to a lot of sports talk. You would have seen those stats. You'd have thought we lost, pretty good, a couple of touchdowns at least. The difference is we made plays when we needed to. That pick six by Alontae Taylor was pretty much a changing point of the game. And we didn't start blitzing Kentucky really until the fourth quarter. And that's when we got a couple stops that we needed. And I think that was the difference. It was to beat Kentucky 45-42, is not necessarily, I say Tennessee's back because the defense can't get off the field on third down. But at the same time, it's first time we've won a road game against a ranked opponent. I forget when the date was, but it's been like over 10 years, maybe 15. And, to get a win like that, to find a way to win is the difference in that aspect. So I was happy to see that.
Yeah.
And Sean's always pulled for you guys because, you guys were great in the 90s. I know you went through a lot of, attrition with all the coaches. So what's your
in the 90s? I
What's
can't even remember. What did we do?
98, wasn't it? Was it 98, Sean?
No, yeah, it was 90s. Yeah, I'm joking. I'm being
What's your thought?
I can't remember.
Josh Heupel so far, and another one. For some reason, I was listening to a podcast last night. I listened to a lot of YouTube, and John Hames, is he like a big reporter or beat guy?
John,
I listened to him last night. And he was real knowledgeable on like Tennessee.
Yeah. Yeah. So you talking about Heupel? I like the hire when we hired him. I didn't know. A couple of questions. How could he recruit and would his offense work in the SEC with the speed? I think that the whole program, the players respond to him well. I know, hearing, talking to some former players, I don't know if y'all remember Cedric Houston or not. That was a running back for us back in the early 2000s.
Right.
Yeah, I remember him.
But Cedric's a good friend of mine. So we'll text back and forth and talk. And I was talking to him this week, and he said that, there were so many people in the program just couldn't stand Pruitt, players, administration, because he just yelled. He just talked down to everybody. So I think it created a lot of crap, a culture for the team, and why you saw a lot of things you did. Heupel, they respond to him well. He seems like he runs the program like an adult. He hasn't made any excuses. He didn't say, like Butch said, this is year zero, or I got to get my players in. He said, we got to win with these players. And you can tell that he can coach players up. One of my best friends here in Charlotte actually is a buddy named Ryan Lohman. He big Virginia Tech fan, and he said it's a different quarterback, than when he played at Virginia Tech. So Heupel is definitely probably he's the best offensive mind I think we've had since Kiffin. Well, he is the best offensive mind since we had Kiffin, and he definitely can get those quarterbacks to understand his offensive system pretty well.
You got any questions on Heupel, Sean, or what do you think about Tennessee so far this year? I mean, it's been you guys scared Bama. I mean, basically you had them hanging around 23-17 in the fourth. I think just you didn't have enough dudes in the depth. They jumped in, and
I think this weekend is going to be a mirror of that.
Yeah, we can get into that. You actually got us scared just because we're Georgia fans and the high. I mean, we're still waiting for a letdown game just because of Georgia, but we can jump into that. So Georgia on the road, going to Neyland, 20-point spread. Good old Rocky Top. Oh yeah, I did want to ask this. I know you guys were mad just because that was a big thing for you guys. So how's the whole thing with everything that happened, Lane Kiffin and the golf ball gate, mustard gate, whatever gate? Like, how are they going to handle maybe that? I know it's not going to be a night game going forward. Is that going to cause any problems with the fans and everything that happened? I was watching. I thought it was kind of funny. I know we were texting. I see why you guys did it because he left you guys high and dry. But
What you were asking me?
Yeah, just don't.
So honestly and truthfully, to me, and y'all may disagree, that was so overrated. I mean, so over publicized. I mean, it should have happened. No, but it happens all the time in sports. The golf ball is a different thing. But my buddy was there, and he said that he could tell the tension in the stadium rising. He felt like something was going to happen because the refs, the calls they keep missing.
Oh, yeah.
and they'll show it on the scoreboard and then don't overturn it. So I think it just got a frustration of it. And then, of course, Lane Kiffin with the players flopping and stuff, and it got out of hand. I don't think you'll see it again because Tennessee has taken some precautionary measures for it. And if anybody gets caught doing it, and they do have cameras in there, they're still trying to find the ones that did it before. They're banned from football for Tennessee for life.
Wow.
So I think that's a little bit extreme, but that should stop anybody from wanting to throw anything on the field. I mean, myself, I didn't like to see it happen. They should have said something about it, and it should have been done with and move on. You know, is what it is, though.
Right.
Yeah, to
Hey,
some
Trey.
extent, I kind of feel like, people kind of reap what they sow in life too. And the thing is, it's just, I think Kiffin probably could have done a little bit more just to at least come out to all the teams he's pretty much screwed over, because Lord knows there's definitely pretty much a field of teams he screwed over, from the Raiders and USC and Tennessee. And he said, like, look, I'm not the same guy. I was in the church, something like that he could have done ahead of time to diffuse it, but he still will never take accountability for anything.
No, the whole
difference with
Twitter
US
thing too. The whole Twitter thing. I know that rubs. He always pokes at Tennessee in a certain way, and there's a lot of people on Twitter. A lot of people that take football more serious than some of us at the end of the day. So I mean, that's if I think coaches need to tone that down a little bit on Twitter and stuff. Just be more professional with it, and so to speak. Of course, Spurrier started that crap.
Yeah.
Was he
Right.
even on Twitter? God, I hope he wasn't on Twitter. Thank God.
Who wasn't
Scott,
around in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, do you have a question? Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, Tony, I want to ask you a question here. So, do you think Josh Heupel is going to be the next? Do you see him being a long-term solution? Because when I look at Heupel, I remember when he played quarterback at Oklahoma. You say somebody else, he played for Oklahoma. Was he a lineman? Because it's like a Freddie Kitchens type situation. When everybody saw Freddie Kitchens, because I'm a long-suffering Browns fan. Whenever he says Freddie Kitchens, he played for Bama. Was he like a lineman? No, he is a quarterback. I'm just hoping. I'm sure you don't want him to be the next Scott Frost, because the way that Big Ten warns people when they had do subpar performances, they let them continue to be the head coach. So I know Scott Frost, he was at UCF, then I think Heupel took over for him. So for what you've seen so far, do you think he's a long-term solution?
So it's really hard to say if it's a long-term solution. I think that it's really going to depend on the continuity he keeps with the staff. I think that's important because we've had so much staff turnover. It's hard for me to even keep up. I have to look at every week and look at the coaching staff and everything because I get, forget the names. But I think he's the first coach that we've had since, the former days that he'll actually, if something does happen, he'll probably leave the program in a better situation than what we've seen from the previous coaches. However, I do think that he is. I do think he's a good coach. I do think the kids respond to him well. Administration, the way he talks at the all the club events, the ball club events, and all that. Everybody speaks highly about him. So from that standpoint, I think it's good. But of course, it all translates. Can you win? And they'll get to a point if we're beating all the teams that we beat this year. If we still get beat by you guys like we have, and we still get beat by Florida, and we still get beat by Alabama, I mean, that Tennessee fans will want him gone because they want to take that next step. So that'll be big.
So he hasn't passed out champions for life rings yet, though, has he?
No, thank God. He doesn't say anything like that. He's just kind of straightforward when he talks to the media. He answers their questions in a professional way. It's so refreshing to be a fan of a school where you actually like to hear your coach talk. Pruitt, he just could not talk to the media, and you never know what Butch was going to say on Monday. So there was going to be something that was going to be brought up in the media after that one.
I still see that Kentucky win as a good win. I mean, Kentucky is probably the second best team in the SEC East right now. I mean, going into that, they're 6-2, and so I mean, if you go back and you look at that Bama game, it wasn't it like a 7-point game in the fourth quarter between Bama and Tennessee, and then it got opened up. If you saw the score of that game, you'd say, it wasn't close, but it was a lot closer than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they scored. They scored with 6 seconds, so they were about to score in the third quarter ended. So they went up by 14 early, and at that point, I knew they were going to, it wouldn't be. They would start opening it up a little bit from there. But it was a good game to watch. Finally, going into the fourth quarter of Alabama.
Yeah, and speaking of Bama, what's your impression of them this year? You think that they're, the same Bama of old, or you think they're a little bit overrated or underrated, or what?
I think they're overrated. Something's going on with their offense. It was when they played LSU. They didn't make a lot of adjustments from what's his name, the kid Bryce
Young.
Yeah, Bryce Young. I mean, he was getting sacked. They weren't making adjustments. And used to seem like Alabama would make adjustments. They'd bring a tight end in or a couple of tight ends. They're not doing that now. So it's like their offense is not the same. And I think that's the difference in it right there.
Sean's really been big on their O lines. Not as great as I think the left tackle Ed Neal, but they've given up like 80th in sacks. And when they pressure Bryce Young, he runs around, but he struggles with that. And they don't have the wideout season like Devontae Smith and Waddle. You can tell they're missing them in the running game. They can't get the running game going. I think they struggle on that.
Yeah, I think you might see them kind of peaking, maybe kind of coming down a little bit, possibly. But I think that'll shift in the next few years. I think you'll start seeing them come down.
All right, and looking at the matchup, Georgia. Going to Milan. My thoughts on the game. I think you guys might score the most. So we're giving up 6.6, which is crazy. But I think you guys are gonna put up some points. I think you're gonna take some shots, and I actually see this being a game, maybe even real close, where you guys might even get up quick in the first half, and then second half make adjustments. I think we got a little bit more depth. And I'm anxious to see it is a tough road environment. I think you guys are going to get up. You're going to bring the crowd. You're excited. And Bennett might struggle. I think you guys are going to do similar to Missouri and crowd the box. So you could stop our run. You're going to make Bennett beat you. I mean, you might see Daniels later if he struggles. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. And to pull the big upset, because I know we're ranked 1, what do you think? What do you think the Vols need to do, Tony, to possibly can pull off a shocker?
What do I think we can do to pull off a shocker? Everything has to go right our way, and then you guys have to have the worst game you've had all year, and then we got a chance. So I think, the way I think it plays out, definitely I think we'll score. Y'all haven't allowed more than 13 points all year, right?
Yeah, I think Sean, was it 13 or 14? I think 13 or 14, 13 maybe against South Carolina, and they hit us deep with the Vance kid. So if there is a weakness in our secondary, and I think you guys can exploit that because you got some long dudes, they're fast. And Hooker can throw it. So that's why we're a little scared that this might be like our best test of the year, possibly. Could be.
Well, the thing about, I think with us, I definitely think, we'll score more than 14 points. If we don't, then we need to go back and kind of reevaluate that. But I think that, a couple of things for Tennessee is, we got, a couple of, questionable players this week. I think they'll play, but they're banged up is the Mays brothers, and we need them because we're very thin on the offensive line. And then also our top 2 running backs, Jabari Small and then Tyen Evans, they can't stay healthy a full game. So most every game, there comes a point where we have to play Jalen Wright, who's a freshman, and then Laneith Whitehead, who's a bigger kid, really not meant for this type of offense. And then we start struggling a little bit. But I think you'll see us start out and throw some quick passes like we did and really use the fast up tempo and get your guys moving around some. I don't think you're going to see us come out and start taking deep shots because I don't know if we can stop y'all's defensive line from getting a Hooker really quick. So I think you'll see a lot of, short passes, things like that to start it off to kind of, and then maybe pull a deep one from there. But I think it'll be a good game in the first half. I think in the second half, you guys will pull away. I think, we'll go score predictions later if we want to, but I think it'll be kind of mirror of Alabama.
Okay, gotcha. What you got, Sean? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I don't know what to make of it because I feel like it's the first time we've really played like a spread team that was actually like hot. I mean, I know Florida's a spread team, but it seems like they had struggles with the quarterback position. I think Tennessee's probably gonna. I think probably the best way to negate our defensive line speed is just to get stuff out quick, right? So I can kind of see them doing that, and also maybe just kind of keeping the tempo going. And then defensively, I would say, just make Bennett beat you. You know, I mean, I think that's kind of what you do, whether you're going all out blitz to either stop the run or whatever. I mean, you know, he still has tendencies to make some mistakes. So, I mean, that's what I would do. But, you know, whether or not Tennessee's defensive coordinator agrees with that, I don't know. He's paid the big bucks. I'm not, right? So, I don't know. I could see Tennessee maybe getting like 24-31, something like that. It just depends on the defense.
Right.
You know, the other thing, too, is I think that without having Adam Anderson, it makes you wonder how much at some point that's going to impact the defense.
Yeah.
You know, Missouri was just so one-sided talent-wise that it didn't matter. But I think this might be the game because he's the fastest linebacker, the best pass rusher. That's kind of where you'd want this guy.
What you got, Scott? You got any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't throw this out there all the time, but I think I don't want to make the Georgia fans nervous, but I think they might be a team of destiny. I mean, they are a team right now that is clear above everyone else. You know, everyone else, you know, that top 6 or 7 in the rankings, you know, have their slips of everything. It's just that time of the year where you get these teams with nothing to lose or teams that are just starting to come together. So, I mean, that's what I could see. I mean, you're going to see the tone of that game, I think, set early. If Georgia, you know, once again gets out to a big lead, then I think it's just going to be I think it's going to be a blowout. But if Tennessee hangs around, then Georgia might get nervous come the second half. And then who knows, there might be like a situation where it opens up in the fourth quarter. But, I mean, you're just going to get these other teams with nothing to lose. I mean, Ohio State has a game coming up against that Purdue. You know, there's a bunch of teams this last week, man, that had close game. Everybody looked like garbage in the top 7 except for basically, you know, Georgia. So Michigan State lost. So it's that time of year, you know.
Right. Yeah. And
I will say one thing on the defense. One thing I wanted to say, I've thought about that too, like how we play on defense. Our identity is not to blitz. I mean, our defensive line has played decent this year. They've actually probably overachieved more than any unit on the team. But our defense has been but not break. You know, now in the fourth quarter last week against Kentucky, that's when we started blitzing. But you don't see us like do many exotic things on defense. Or even try to stop the pass or try to stop the run, really try to keep everything in front of them. So I don't know Stetson Bennett if that's the best thing to do, because I think if you just let him pick you apart, small pass up down the field with some deep shots, I think that's his game. So that's what we may come in and load the box, but that'd be totally different than we've done all year. No matter who we played. So.
And on that, Tony, I wanted to ask you, because you're a non-Georgia fan and we listen to it every week. But what's your thoughts on like the whole Bennett Daniels thing, and looking higher up? What would who you think's got more upside to maybe try to lead us to hopefully a national title? It's been 41 years. That's what we all want. But what's your thoughts on that?
I've told you this before. I just can't. No knock to you guys. I can't see Stetson Bennett winning a national championship. Now, I do agree. Watching y'all play, you remind me of the '98 team. T. Martin was not the best quarterback his senior year. I mean, he did complete 23 straight passes or 22 straight passes against South Carolina that year, but he really couldn't pass the ball. I mean, against Florida, when we beat them in '98, he passed for like 63 yards that game.
Oh.
But we ran the ball. Our defense was like y'all's. I mean, it was you weren't going to get much points or any yards on us. So I think that team reminds me a lot of it. And then I say the destiny aspect. I mean, how do you lose Peyton Manning for 4 years and then the backup quarterback comes in and wins a national title? It's got to be a team of destiny. So it could be that.
Gotcha. All right, jumping right into it. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and make predictions. I'm gonna go. I like this score right here. I was looking at it. I'm gonna go. You guys hang around the first half. 20-point spread, but I like 38-17. I could even see you guys doing 38-21, something like that. But I like it close in the first, and we just got more dudes, more athletes in the second half. So I'm gonna go 38-17 Dogs. You go ahead, Tony.
Man, there's no way y'all hold us.
Shot the world if you want.
There's no way y'all hold us to 17 points.
Okay.
I mean, I really believe that. I think it's gonna be close in the first half. I think the second half, y'all get some scores. I'll say 45-31. I think we'll score 30.
Let's see. All right, I like it. 45-31. All right, what you got, Sean?
I'm gonna say maybe 31-24.
Man, you gonna make it a score, huh? All right.
Wow, I actually like that score. That'd be good going into the fourth quarter there.
If you're a betting man, take that. Take Tennessee in points. I hear you. All right, Scott, what you got? Being way neutral out there, Big Ten. What you got?
So, Tony, I want to make you feel good. At the end of the third quarter, it's going to be 21-20
Wow.
Georgia. But then at the end of the game, it's going to be 42-20 Georgia.
Wow, and they cover.
So I got Georgia. I see that fourth quarter, just things opening up.
Yeah,
Okay.
you could be right about it. Yeah, it's that's I can see that scenario happening also. I've been thinking about it all week, so I'm gonna stick with my 45-31. But
Okay, I like it. All right, transitioning. Scott, Ohio State beats Nebraska last week. I believe it was. What was the score again? Sorry, I didn't look that up. I just had the Purdue. You remember?
We had, I don't know, 9-point victory or something like that. Once again, didn't look great. My biggest concern is, you can say, hey, Nebraska is better than 3-6, or now they're 3-7. But I'm like, well, they're still 3-6 though, which of course we won 26-17, so another 9-point victory. But it's still closer than what it should have been. Still a lot of concerns. I mean, offense looks good against garbage teams, but Nebraska should be one of those garbage teams. So, but then again, I look at, what Alabama did against LSU. If LSU had a chance to win at the end, Cincinnati pulled one out against, who was it? Was it two? No, it was Tulsa, right? So, I mean, there was, and then Michigan State lost. So there's a lot of people that had close games this last week. It's just one of those, you're hoping to get to that time of the year, we blow out those other teams. And of course, Nebraska rewarded Scott Frost with and he can come back next year because they like him, because I don't really care about wins at the end of the day. Do we like the guy or not? Bo Pelini, 9 wins. Oh, we hate that guy. Scott Frost, really like him because he won us that national title in '97. So by all means, bring him back.
And he's a Nebraska man.
Well, Jim Harbaugh is a Michigan man. So, here we are 5 years in and hasn't beat Ohio State, losing most of the games to Michigan State. And they're like, well, we can't do any better. So we'll just keep them. So anyways, that's the Big Ten way right now, I guess. But still closer than what it should have been. Yes, we pulled out a victory. I'll take a victory. But then we still have – the thing with Purdue is, Purdue beat Iowa earlier this year. Purdue beat Michigan State. Purdue always gives us trouble even when they're garbage. So that's my concern coming in, that the Boilermakers, that they call them the spoiler makers. So we'll see. I mean, I think we're going to win, but I think it's going to be close. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if we got upset. I hope that doesn't happen. I really don't see outside of Alabama a 2-loss team making the playoffs this year. So that's my concern. We got Purdue and then Michigan State the week after Michigan. So we still have, really our biggest games in front of us, at least with Michigan State and Michigan.
Hey, Scott, how do you like this? You're actually a 3:30 ABC game. Do you like that instead of the big noon Fox kickoff? You like that?
Sure, why not?
I mean,
well, that's interesting. That's an interesting point that you mentioned there at the end concerning Alabama, Scott. Do you guys think that a 2-loss Alabama team should get in to the playoff?
No.
It depends with everything. Hey, I'm all for not having them in. And Georgia fans, you should hope, if you're a Georgia fan, you want them to lose before so that you could play Texas A&M or somebody else. Because I'm telling you, a 2-loss Texas A&M team ain't going to make it. It depends on what happens to everybody around. If everybody else craps their pants, and so then because we still got, if it depends, I think a 1-loss Big Ten team will get in, unless that is unless you got that Ohio State Oregon matchup. So I mean, Michigan and Michigan State in theory could still get out. I don't see us losing both of those games. I actually see us losing a better chance of losing this week than losing Michigan State and Michigan. But I mean, I don't think they would, but they're setting it up, man, that if there's a close game, like a overtime game with Bama and Georgia and the SEC championship, I could see it happening depending what happens, around the rest of college football.
I think if you look at it and say, who's the best teams to get in, that it's hard to say anybody can, some of the teams come up against Alabama and beat them. I don't think a 2-loss Alabama team deserves again, especially, if they win the conference or whatnot. But again, I mean, can you, is Nick Saban, I mean, it's got some kind of pull for the name. It sucks, but that's the way it is. But, I'm with y'all though. I'd actually rather, I don't know if I want to say this on video, but I'd actually rather y'all see y'all win it than see them win it again. And I don't want y'all to win it either though. Don't get me wrong.
Pick lesser of 2 evils. I got you.
I'm just tired of saving.
Oh yeah. Scott, real quick, what's your give us a prediction? It's Purdue plus 20. You guys are favored by 20. What's your pick for the game?
We're favored by 20.
Yeah, you're favored by 20. So what's got
I
here?
would take the under prediction. I'd take the under. I don't know. I don't know. I think my game. I'm gonna say. So I said take the under, right? So I'll say 32-13.
Okay, I can see that. I think they're going to hang around. They got a good. They have a. That's definitely a good win. They got some explosive guys, I think. So yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 38-14. Cover. And then transitioning on to the playoff rankings that came out last night. Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Oregon 3, Ohio State 4, and Cincinnati 5, Michigan 6. This is that's the one that I don't get. You barely beat LSU, they have 4 losses, 3 losses, non-ranked. You lost to Texas A&M at the time that wasn't ranked. You barely beat Florida, who was a 5-loss team. Do we even have to talk about Florida? Train wreck right now. So I just think it's Nick Saban. And here's the thing, back to your question, Sean, about 2 losses. So let's just say we do beat them. Are you going to drop them down to like 4, and then we're going to play them in back-to-back weeks? I just don't see this college football committee doing that, because you're going to like play Georgia again, and in a month, because that's what would happen if you squeezed them in there. So I don't see it. I think they dropped to 5. Oregon with that Stanford loss, terrible. I know why they're over Ohio State. I think. Does anybody actually still think Cincinnati is going to get in the way it is?
No.
So they're just going to. That's the best they'll get, you think?
Yeah.
How about Oklahoma getting no love over here? Sean was telling me earlier about it, that I think everyone's tired about them making the playoffs and getting blasted. So maybe that's why they're not getting any love. So what's everybody's 4 if you had to pick? Or first, Tony, what would be your 4 if you had to pick?
Honestly, it's hard. I would keep Alabama. I just don't know if I would have them at 2. Because, if you think about it, and that may be why they voted that way, is I think they're still probably one of the best teams, top 4 teams. So are they, granted they haven't played as well as they had this year, are they still 8-1, So I think I'm okay with, with the top 4. I definitely would put Cincinnati in there. It surprised me Oklahoma's down as far down as they are on it. I didn't even realize watching last night, it didn't dawn on me that they're actually undefeated, and I would have them a little bit higher. But definitely, you guys won. I'd probably maybe have, but you got to, if Oregon goes up with that loss they had, it's tough. I can't argue much with it. I guess maybe, I don't know, maybe swap Oregon or Ohio State, and that would be it.
What's your thoughts, Sean?
To me, just. I think that I'm not a big fan of just either punishing current teams for, the transgressions of, prior teams. And I think that's what's happened a lot with Oklahoma. It's hard to argue there's a quarterback, we'll just say outside of the SEC or Big Ten, that's hotter than like Caleb Williams. So to me, he's beaten everybody you put in front of him. I just think it's blatantly disrespectful to not at least put them in there. To me, to me, there's inconsistencies if you don't put Cincinnati in. So I put Oklahoma at I'd probably put them at 2 just because they're undefeated, right? To me, I think Cincinnati's got to go in just because they are, they're an out-large team. And the thing is just they let the gold helmets in there all the time. And they pretty much play the same schedule, more or less, as Cincinnati. So if you're going to be consistent, to me, you got to give them a shot to play. And then after that, I guess right now I would put Alabama at number 4. Again, I think a lot of the reason why they're number 4 is I think it's just based on like the history, the name brand, all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. To me, they've kind of, there's some noticeable holes there. I don't think it's the same Bama team that we've had, years past. I think it's maybe the weakest since, other than Saban's first year that he's had on the lines of scrimmage. I don't think there's any question about that. So to me, a lot of that's based on the Bama name. So, man, I don't know. Like, you could, I guess maybe say Ohio State probably deserves it because even though they lost at home, Oregon's right there in the conversation too. Texas A&M is in the conversation for a playoff spot. So to me, it's a little bit more better of a quality loss. And like the thing is, Ohio State's offense is way better than Bama's. So I mean, maybe I think I want to put Ohio State at 4.
Gotcha.
But
All
it's
right,
barely.
Trey, I was thinking too that don't you think that? I mean, do you really think Georgia deserves that number 1 spot? Because I'm looking at UTSA; they're 9-0, they're 23, so maybe we should move them up. University of Texas San Antonio, you know,
I'm not sure
they had a big win over UTEP, you know.
I'm not sure who that is.
Well, hey, they're undefeated, man. UTSA.
They are. Okay, forgot about them. No love, huh?
So look, Georgia's definitely the dominant team. I mean, they're the team that's, you know, looks like right now has, outside of Stetson Bennett, really has, you know, very few holes. It's just that can you get over the Alabama hump? And to Sean's point, I think Bama's definitely vulnerable. Can you imagine though how good the Georgia would be if Saban was your head coach and Kirby Smart was the head coach at Bama right now? Can you just imagine how good it could be?
Or Scott, how about this? Could you imagine a scenario where Ohio State hadn't won a national title in 41 years, but every state that surrounds Ohio had won 22 over the past 41 years?
Yeah, how about that?
Because that's exactly the world we live in.
Before, hey, in the fertile recruiting ground you have there, that pretty much everybody comes out of that area in Georgia. So, well, we waited 34 years back in 2002, but this last time we only had to wait 12. But I know what you're saying; it's still been too long. So, yeah, I mean, the thing is, can you get Bama? That's your biggest. You got to get over that hump. Or if somebody beats Bama on the way, which I only see maybe me and Auburn, then you don't even have to worry about getting over that hump. And you know, I think you'll have a better. Even let's just say Texas A&M might be a still tough team to play. I think you still rather play them than Bama in the SEC championship. But everybody else, man, everybody else has holes. Everybody else, you know, who knows? I mean, where do I think they're going to be? They're not going to leave out an undefeated Oklahoma. No way, you know. And Cincinnati, I think they're keeping them there at 5, just so it's like, well, I'm not going to let you in yet unless there's mass chaos, and then we'll, you know, let you creep in. So it really just depends what happens with, you know, Ohio State, Michigan towards the end of the year. And then if Oregon keeps winning, if Oregon, man, loses, they're out. I mean, Oregon still is it's going to be tough for them to get in. So, I mean, I still see a scenario where two SEC teams get in, but it just depends what happens everything around. I mean, I'm fine with where it is now, but where's it going to end up? It just, you know, they're not going to, an undefeated Oklahoma will definitely get in, no doubt.
Well, and I'm hard pressed to see that, like, you know, if Georgia beats Alabama in Atlanta, which I'm going to go ahead and say happens if we're both in Atlanta. But to me, at that point, what Alabama's going to have, well, they'd have 2 losses. I just don't think that they're going to let Bama in over, you know, conference winners with the same record. Could be wrong. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah. So I think we all agree on that. The 2-loss Bama team doesn't get in. Do you agree with that?
Probably.
If it does, then you know it's crooked.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one last thing I wanted to ask, just because I listened to one of the podcast, Josh Pate, he was saying the mindset for Georgia being here, we know they've struggled for 40-something years, like, and then how much heat and pressure is Kirby Smart feeling? Because, like, he's probably, you know, he's always been a top 10 program, but if he makes, you know, the wrong pick on this quarterback situation, you got to be really particular about it. Like, how much pressure, like, because I'm thinking, like, this is his year. Like, you've been here year 6, you were there in 2017. You've got it all, unless we just get a lot of injuries. Like, how much pressure?
See, I would disagree. I don't think he's under that much pressure, because that would require the Georgia fan base to have a level of intelligence that they really don't possess, to be completely honest with you. I mean, these are the people that are completely happy going 8-4 every year. They are. I mean,
come on.
like, people were terrified of Mark Richt getting fired. I mean, they thought literally the country was going to collapse. Mexico was going to invade. I mean, they look at every situation as, you know, and they just hyper focus on the negativity surrounding any situation rather than looking at the opportunity that's presented by, like, a new situation. So to me, it's not going to matter. Like, you know, maybe Kirby, if he messes this up, was like, man, this is one where I probably should have won it. But Georgia fans are going to be elated regardless. or certainly enough of them are going to come forward and say, what an amazing, remarkable job, what an amazing, remarkable guy, even though he completely fucked the quarterback situation up, because that's how our people roll, Trey.
Yeah.
What I'll say to you though, and per your comment, Sean, I mean, just getting to know you and Trey over the years. I mean, you're perfect examples of this Georgia fan base. But when I look at that top, that was an insult. I don't know if you picked up on it or not, but I was.
I did. I was like waiting to see if Trey got it.
But when I look at Stetson, yeah, can he really get you there? We've had that conversation week in and week out. But look at, I mean, Bryce Young, man, for Alabama, he's looked, he's made some mistakes against LSU. I mean, all the other top quarterbacks, including CJ Stroud, everybody else, the quarterback right now that probably looks the best in the top 8 is Caleb Williams, who did even for Oklahoma, who didn't even go and wasn't even started at the beginning of the year. So I mean, I make the argument he looks as the best quarterback at the top 8. Now, that being said, Oklahoma's defense is garbage, and that's why they are down there, even though they will make their way up if they keep on winning.
Yeah. All right. One last thing I wanted to ask, just because it's funny laughing at him or whatever. I'll ask Tony on the way out. What's your thoughts on Dan Mullen and the Florida thing? And what do you think? Does he last at the end of the year? Does he make it till next year? Do you think it was good getting rid of Grantham and the defensive line coach? I think it's fun watching the Gators squirm, and it's a shit show.
So I went to Famous Toastery Sunday morning, Trey, and I went to the bar to eat by myself, and there's seeing Chris Doering by himself. So I sat down and started talking to Chris and said, what about them Gators, man? What's going on with the Gators? And he just shook his head and he said, we never saw that coming. So I said, do you think Mullen will get fired? And he said, if you'd asked me that Friday, I'd have said not this year. But he said, now he questions it. He says, it's definitely something going on. I have a couple of Florida fans like you guys or Georgia keep up really close. And they say, all the practice reports, things are just weird. You can tell when something's not right. I think Mullen's a good coach. So I don't know what happened to that team this year. I wish we'd have played him now because we'd have beat him now. Yeah. But I think I think he'll make it this season, and then next season he'll either get fired or he'll even go to the NFL.
Smoking hot seat next year.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt. That was just a little bit to cool him off, letting Grantham and the offensive line coach go. That was just to cool his seat off a little bit.
Right.
And the thing is, he's got to hit home runs on those 2 hires. And it's interesting, in the past, he's actually gotten some pretty good defensive coordinators. I don't know that he's never had any at Florida with him, but at Mississippi State, he had a couple of pretty good ones. So, yeah, I think he's got to hit home run hires on there. And really what he needs to do is he's got to recruit better. I think, and I think this is what, I'd meant to bring up too when we're talking about Heupel. A Heupel could, his trajectory could be Dan Mullen. It could exceed Mullen though if he can recruit, at a level kind of fitting the program.
Yeah,
and I think that's kind of the key too.
What's your thoughts, Scott?
Oh, about Dan Mullen? Wow. I mean, things went south fast. I mean, they always play Bama tough, and then they crapped their pants a couple times throughout the year. And I'm just about as big a Florida fan as we all are. So, yeah, I mean, from all the rumors, I mean, what they say is, that he doesn't like to recruit, and boy, has that that's more evident than ever before. So, yeah, I mean, they're a mess, and Florida's not a team that's going to sit around. And I mean, I'm surprised kind of that he isn't already fired. I mean, they're pretty.
They're aggressive.
That's the way that things are in college football, man. You fire somebody early on, like USC's second game of the year, so you can go find your next head coach. So I mean, I'd be shocked if it made it
which has worked out great so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, there you go, man. I mean, it's well, hey, when they fired. Who was the guy before Urban Meyer? I see his face, but I forget his name. Great recruiter, but they fired
Ron Zook.
That's right, the Zook.
Sure, yeah.
So they brought in Urban. So I mean, but who's that hot coach out there that you really want to? Who are you going to take right now in college football to replace him with? Who's that hot coach? So I don't know what they're going to do. They got to have an answer to who they're going to replace him with, and then try to get the jump on them. But I don't know who they replace him with. So if it makes it through the year, I guess now I'd be surprised, especially after, losing big were they like a 20-point favorite and they lost by 20 to South Carolina? So
like a 4th-string quarterback, right?
Yeah, fourth string.
Third, third or fourth or something. So
He's fourth. He was fourth. He transferred from St. Francis, Pennsylvania, St. Francis, PA, or whatever, as a grad walk on.
Oh man, that shows you where Florida football is right now.
They're 4-5. I don't know who else they got to play, but if they lose to Florida State, who's pretty bad this year, it might be because they hate each other. Like if they get smoked by them, like he might be fired that weekend. I don't know. Depends on.
I looked at their schedule. Their last few games, they said Florida. So Florida State, I think that'll be a decent game, but I think they should win the other two. I forget who they are. One of them's a non-conference. The other one's I forget who it is.
All right, guys. Well, anything you want to add on the way out?
That's what I'm put on here. So everybody, that's my dog Samson. He always wears a Tennessee jersey, so he's ready.
There we go.
Nice.
Hey, Trey, I have one quick question for you.
Good.
Do you think you're going to get the I know you can't get the beginning of the part. Do you think you'll sign us off correctly this time?
How would you like that to be?
The Herschel Talkers been at the college football. I was just curious if you would. I should.
And we're out of here. There you go.
Hey, make sure to like and subscribe. Trying to get those views up again. But hey, you can take us out, Scott.
Oh, I want to have Sean do it this time. Sean, take us out.
Good.
All right, guys. This has been the Herschel Talkers College Football Hour, and we're out of here.
Thanks, guys.
See you guys later. Enjoy the game.
Bye.
Yep,
Let's start doing this shit.